Morning, Steve here in Chicago with the morning grain comments. Well, it's a cold day in Chicago. We had a little bit of lake effect snow, which is a special thing for Chicago people, especially living along the lake. This is supposed to be short-lived, and temperatures next week hopefully warm up back closer to normal. Precip maybe mostly staying in the eastern part of the U.S. Midwest and drier in the west. South American weather continues to be favorable with drier conditions in southern Brazil and Argentina. Showers up in northern Brazil. Looks like mid next week, maybe late next week, some showers might pop up in northern Argentina and move into southern Brazil. So from that perspective, looks like a good weather pattern down there. The USDA didn't really give the bulls anything yesterday. They raised the corn crop more than expected. It's a record yield. And we don't think, looking back at this past year, that the Midwest had perfect weather. So a pretty good statement for farmer practices and some of these hybrids and some of the yield technology on corn. So I don't think the corn yield's peaked yet. But as far as the numbers are concerned, in the corn, the market was hoping maybe they'd raise the crop 50 million bushels. They raised it 300. So the USDA did raise demand 150 million bushels, but they still raised the carryout 150 million bushels. And we'll see on December 1st, but we would expect that a big percentage of that is still in the farmers' hands. We also noted that in the areas where we had record yields, farmers are running out of storage and they're leaving the corn in the field. And so this may have to come to the market, which could offer resistance to prices and offers resistance to the basis. So we have to find a price, and we have to find new demand to cut into this supply. Most people think that these corn will find support around the 330 area. We just can't go below that price to put corn into the pipeline. But when we look at some of the deferred, like March and May contracts, we may not be able to get over 380 unless there's a South American weather problem. In the beans, USDA was expected to lower the crop maybe 20, 25 million bushels, and they lowered it 6. The carryout was dropped 5 million bushels, and so we're still dealing with an adequate supply of beans. Now the farmer has sold a lot of those beans to date. It's in the pipeline, but the market anticipates that at least nearby Jan beans will find support at 950 and resistance at that 1010 level that we could not push through before the report. South American weather is now going to be watched pretty closely. They did raise the Brazil crop 1 million tons. They raised China imports 2 million tons, but they also raised China stocks 1 million tons. So there's a lot of beans in the world. And to break out of this range, especially on the upside, we need a South American weather problem. The only other issue we heard overnight is that China is kind of slow in giving import licenses to allow beans to come into China. There may be some concern that some GMO beans are getting into their food supply. So we really can't have that type of slowdown in the bean market. Not much change in the wheat. They lowered the carryout 25 million bushels due to higher export. Most of that was in hard red runner wheat. Still have a record world stocks forecasted. They raised the Russian crop 1 million tons, raised their exports, and so there's still too much wheat in the world, and December wheat should find support at 415 and 420, resistance at 450 and 460, and still remains range bound. Yesterday we continued to see the index funds liquidate out of the December contracts. Open interest in the beans went up 3, oil went up 4, meal went up 3, and corn went up 26,000 contracts yesterday in a down market. Wheat actually went down 8,000 contracts, so it could have been a few people disappointed in the wheat numbers and got out of maybe some long positions. So anyway, the funds long about 36,000 beans, short 218,000 corn, which is a record, and 109,000 tons of wheat. So we're range bound unless there's a South American weather problem. As always, these are my thoughts and not those of ADM or ADM Investor Services, and have a safe and profitable trading day.